All right, so are you ready for some art? Yeah, so I'm very happy to bring some art to you. My name is Lenara, and I'm here to talk to you about DADA.art. And the focus of this talk, oh yeah, the focus of this talk is on innovation and collaboration, right? So DADA is a visual conversation platform. So it's a place where people speak to each other through drawings. And there's really nothing like it. The first innovation that I want to bring your attention to is this platform itself. And it was created in 2014 by Beatriz Ramos and Judy Mam. And we have thousands of artists right now drawing on Dada. And they come from all over the world, and some of them made actually hundreds, some even thousands of drawings using this platform. And the way it works is you draw directly on the platform with a very simple tool. So there's no upload, there's no copy-paste. Every drawing is made right there. And then someone replies to you, and that's how these spontaneous conversations happen. And one important fact is that the conversations themselves are owned collectively by the DADA Commons. And the Commons is also something that is at the very core of DADA. So from that simple platform, it evolved to today being a really rich and complex ecosystem. This is a map of all the current activities that is happening on DADA. And one important innovation that I'm bringing is back in 2017, this is when DADA started exploring the blockchain as a way to capture the value that the artists are creating and having it flow back to the people who are doing it. So back then, we sponsored some of the first NFT events, which, by the way, were not called NFTs then. This is the Rare Digital Art Festival in 2018. So we're really proud of being part of this kind of prehistory of NFTs. And by then, in 2018, we had already launched our decentralized autonomous marketplace. That happened in 2017. So yeah, it's really kind of OG in the terms. This was one of the first times that art was tokenized on the Ethereum blockchain. And we got a bit of like inspiration from other projects. So the kind of dank aesthetics that comes from the rare pepes that were on the counterparty Bitcoin. And our contract code actually was borrowed from the CryptoPunks with the Larva Labs blessing, of course, right? But we actually expanded on this contract, and we added some very important innovations. And I think one of the most important ones is that this was the first time that royalties were coded into smart contracts. And also, this is the Crips and Weirdos animation logo that we have now. And we had 108 drawings. And they came in editions of different rarities, from extremely commons that were 200, which is not that much, actually. We had extremely rares that were only 10 of them. And even though they were editions, every token had a unique token ID, so they were fully non-fungible, every single one of them, as a modified ERC20 back then. So there was this is the interface for the marketplace, and some people could claim for free, like the CryptoPunks were like that, and some were really cheap, like $5. And the most expensive were $250, which seemed like a lot at the time and a bargain now, right? But at the time, people really didn't think that this kind of digital art was worth anything. So actually, some of those editions didn't sell a single one back then. Right? But they are all now for sale and being sold. And I guess this is something that happens when you are a bit ahead of the time, which is something we suffer, let's say, from it. But yeah, we keep going. So another innovation that we were happy to be part of, even if we didn't create the main innovation, we were part of this project. And this is one of the first times, I think, that NFTs could own other NFTs. And we at DADA said, well, they should be able to own art. So this was the first time that DADA tokenized the whole conversation, and those became artworks that could be owned by CryptoKitties. Yeah, and the project was called Kitty Hats. Then another innovation in 2020 is when we ask, how can we use NFTs as a form of activism to protest police brutality, for example? So No Justice, No Peace is a project where we tokenize some very hard-to-find images, and the wallets actually where these NFTs were sent to, the keys were destroyed, the images are stored on Arweave blockchain, so they are kind of immutably stored on chain. And then, well, back to now to 2019, this is when we first started experimenting with AI, which is now like a big topic. And DADA GAN was our autonomous artist, and it was trained on, I think, over 100,000 drawings that the platform had at the time. And it has its unique style, it makes portraits, and it draws every day on DADA. It posts something, and the artists reply to it. And on 2019, it tokenized like a few small selection of its drawings, but now the whole 1,000 portraits is available at the NFT marketplace. But beyond creating art, now DADAGAN is becoming like a fully autonomous artist. So it also shows its art and engages in Twitter, and it creates like marketing strategies. It's actually becoming quite successful. It's in like few exhibitions right now and events. It's really fun, and I'm going to actually be talking a little bit more about DADAGAN tomorrow. There's a panel on art and AI happening. But then, okay, while we have DADAGAN chilling and playing the market, we at DADA are going really deep into a system we call the invisible economy. So this is our socioeconomic innovation, so to speak. And it optimizes for protecting the artists so they can do what they love and what they want to do, which maybe is not chilling and playing the market, right? But at the same time, this is very important, like since the beginning, when we went into blockchain, is we really want to make sure we capture the value created by artists and make sure that it flows back to the artists, while passing, of course, by the data commons. So how do we do this? How does it work? Basically, by making the intrinsic visible and the transactional invisible. Okay, this is like in a nutshell, but it's really kind of like a complex system. And I think that if we were maybe like 5 years ahead of time when we tokenized the first collection, now DADA may be even 10 years ahead of time, right? But we really go deep into the system. And the way we do it, I mean, why we do it, right, is because we really care about building future tools, right? And that can really, we can focus on our intrinsic motivations. So here are some examples of how this invisible economy system works, just to kind of have an idea of how it is. We have the DOT system, which is kind of like a trust circles. And it's really interesting that we don't need any sanctions or rules. The environment itself filters like trolls and other things. And the way that you progress is to your spontaneous motivation and contribution. And another important element is we have contribution metrics, because it's really important to track who is adding value. But the way we do it is by focusing on this intrinsic motivation, and the way we represent the contributions is actually without any numbers. But they are there, and they're clearly visible for us to know. And then our governance is really based on what we call sense-making sessions. So we don't have any kind of like votings or proposals that people associate these days with governance. We really want to go deep. And we start always with an offer or a gift. And through this process, we arrive at the really incredible outcomes that is what we are experiencing these days. So yeah, so this is just to have an idea, because like I said, we are this large and rich ecosystem. And we have not only artists, we have programmers, we have researchers, we have collectors, just friends that take part in it. And we really encourage anyone that wants to tap into their intrinsic motivation and what they want to do to join us in any way. Also, one thing is we also encourage you to draw on data, even if you think you cannot draw. It's really interesting to be there. And if you want to be in touch with us, the best way is our Twitter account, which is called Power Data. So that was it. I'm a bit early with the time, but that's OK. And I want to thank you very much for being here.